Welcome to That's So Clutch, an automotive podcast that bridges the gap between car industry experts and those who are not. Hey everyone, welcome back to That's So Clutch. I'm Aline Ferreira, your host, and today I have got Jared Franklin with First Innovations in Austin, Texas. How are you doing, Jared?
Doing well.
Good. So Jared's automotive roots go far, holding every variable position from sales to GM. Since then, he has gone from managing the OEM programs for Mazda and Volvo to senior vice president of First Group. Despite you being a busy man, you still make time to hang out with your daughter on the soccer field and go to the movies, which I love.
Yes.
So let's get right into the big question. What's the difference between a factory warranty and extended warranty?
The big difference is the responsibilities and who is providing the coverage. So you have to remember that with a factory warranty, the manufacturer is taking care of you, the customer, because of them being the ones who built the vehicle.
Right.
In our world, we hear OEM, which is original equipment manufacturer. So they have a responsibility since they built the product. When you're looking at an extended service contract, you are purchasing protection to protect you from you. So the manufacturer is protecting you from them.
Right.
That they built something, poor workmanship, errors in production.
Like a recall or something?
Yes,
okay.
Recalls is their way of saying, hey, we made a mistake, bring it back in, we're going to take care of you at no cost. Let's just schedule it, let's find the time, parts, labor, everything else, we'll take care of that.
Okay.
With regard to any event that happens after factory warranty period, that's your responsibility.
Okay.
So typically what ends up happening is when someone has a service contract on a brand new vehicle, there's an overlap. And the concern is, well, am I buying coverage during a period where I'm not really going to get a benefit? The reality of it is that most of those contracts are lower in retail price to the customer because the factory is covering those initial time periods and miles. That would be the warranty period. And you're only paying for that lapse of warranty and now exposure with regard to your own consumer risk.
Okay.
So you're really getting a better value buying a service contract on a brand new vehicle at the time of purchase than coming out trying to buy it a little bit later in time.
I see. Is it more expensive to purchase an extended warranty before taking the vehicle off the lot or afterwards?
So with a brand new vehicle, it's going to be your best time to purchase.
Okay.
Again, the rating of the coverage is based on the fact that initial period, whatever the factory warranty period may be, 3-year 36, 4-year 50, however long it may be, that the contract doesn't have exposure early. So
Okay.
it's backloading the coverage and the risk towards the time frame that it would be needed at that point in time. So the best deal is always going to be on a brand new vehicle at the time of purchase. So the closer you get to the end of the warranty period, the higher risk, and you also start to see a higher price
Right.
as a consumer.
So is there such thing as like a full coverage warranty?
So one of the, I guess, misrepresentations, and we have to be careful about what we say in our business, the only provider of a bumper-to-bumper coverage is the manufacturer. So
Okay.
they, again, are the original equipment manufacturers. They protect you as a consumer for what they built, any errors that may exist on that vehicle from bumper to bumper. But the reality of it is that in a brand new vehicle, if the tires that are on the vehicle have flat spots,
Right.
or if there was something else wrong with the rubber, they will provide you new tires. If the windshield wipers are immediately an issue, they'll provide you new wipers. Most extended service contracts don't get into those things. They're considered wearable items. But the manufacturer immediately will protect you if any wearable item, brake pads, or anything else is wrong in the beginning. So they are bumper to bumper. Everyone else is typically exclusionary coverage is the best coverage option. And that is where we say we're covering you as a consumer against everything except for what we are excluding, which typically are wearable items,
Yeah.
batteries,
Hmm.
brake pads.
Basically anything you can damage yourself.
Yes,
Okay.
and that we can't control the environment, right?
Right.
So, a vehicle that's sitting outside in Texas throughout this hot summer
Yeah.
is just as extreme as, say, someone who's up north. In maybe Minnesota in 2 months from now,
Right.
when they have their first blizzard, right?
Right.
We can't control the environment that the vehicles will be sheltered or not,
Hmm.
and the driving habits that exist. So most wearable items that are external tend to be affected by the elements.
Hmm.
Batteries as well, extremely hot conditions. Most of us have our ACs turned up high. We expect it to turn on and immediately perform.
Hmm.
That can be a strain on other components of the vehicle, but the battery is what's needed until the alternator and some other
Yeah.
aspects of the vehicle start to kick in. Is needed to make sure it starts up every single time. So what
Hmm.
happens? A lot of people go out there, a vehicle that's a couple years old, there's been a lot of strain. What's wrong? The battery.
Right.
Okay, well, the battery is something that you can come to the dealership or wherever you prefer to purchase a battery,
Hmm.
and you can replace that. It's a replaceable item on the vehicle.
Hmm.
So that's not something that's typically covered in those exclusionary contracts, which is the best of the best,
Right.
regardless of who's providing it.
Is the factory warranty, does that differ for different manufacturers?
Yes.
Okay.
So each manufacturer understands what they built,
Hmm.
and maybe more than anything, the aspects of the vehicle that will be most likely to need a little love and care, right?
Hmm.
So historically, the domestics have had shorter terms. Honda, just as a little note, the Japanese import vehicles, Honda and Toyota, were one of the first ones in the market to go to a 3-year 36. When
Oh, wow.
historically, most domestics were still just doing a 1-year
Hmm.
consumer protection. So again, going back to just a little bit of production history, anything that's mass produced in our country has to have at least 1-year protection. So whether
Wow.
it's these microphones, lights, anything else,
Yeah.
the cameras, anything else that we
Yeah.
see in the room, usually you're going to get at least 1-year protection. And the automotive industry was in line with that.
Mm.
But it was the imports that shifted the market to where we had a 3-year 36. And we saw the domestics also start to do that. And then you've also had some other imports that went longer.
Right.
So we've seen 5-year 60s. We've also seen the Hyundais and Kias of the world with a 10-year,
That's
100,000
insane.
mile limited powertrain warranty.
Mm.
And again, going back to one of the things we talked about previously, it's limited because they're still only protecting you from poor workmanship errors in
Right.
production, that they built a poorly built vehicle.
Hmm.
I think what's tough for them is that that's a very difficult line to hold,
Right.
that at 100,000 miles, are we still looking at a poorly built vehicle,
Or
or
is it
that
just
we've
run
just
down?
driven? Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we've driven the vehicle and we've worn it down,
Yeah.
right? So I can't think of too many things that 10 years later, or even 100,000 miles,
Right.
we would still say, okay,
It's our fault.
it's our fault.
I mean, props to them for trying that out.
Well, they were doing what they needed to do from a marketing standpoint to make
Hmm.
the American consumer feel good about the product.
Mm.
Since it was not American built or made at that time,
Right.
they are building some vehicles here in the States. But
Hmm.
so it's very important that all consumers look at their warranty guide and understand truly what are the protections from the manufacturer. But remember, it's against poor workmanship errors in production,
Hmm.
not their driving habits.
Right. So, in your opinion, what warranty do you see people get the most that you think is actually worth it?
I would say exclusionary coverage is like the true, um, I guess, legal term of what you're getting, which is we are covering everything that's not specifically stated as an exclusion, right?
Hmm.
The alternative is that your next steps down are what is considered stated coverage. But let's just say in this case, it is something specific to that brand.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of things are being added these days, but they're still one-offs, right?
Hmm.
And it could be a specific technology component that
Oh,
is
okay.
proprietary to that vehicle, right? So I think about Mercedes, right? And uh, there's so much technology, even with the lights
Oh, yeah,
that can
the ambient
change, and you can
lighting.
change the ambient lights and the tone of
Mm-hmm.
the lights in the vehicle. We didn't write tone, light, ambient solutions
Right.
in our contract. I don't know who has at this point in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if something were to go wrong with that, um, that would be an exposure issue that the exclusionary coverage we wouldn't have disqualified lights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of standard bulbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
This would be an internal ambient system, and that would be something that we would cover in exclusionary coverage, but we would not have specifically stated in our stated levels of coverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when a consumer has to make a decision. Do they still want to have exclusionary coverage? It's the best of the best, where unless it's again an excluded item, you're going to be protected? Or do you want to maybe look at something possibly more cost effective that's a stated coverage? And you understand when you come to the service department, if it's not one of the items that was listed, then you're going to have to pay for it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's always a tough conversation. I'd imagine it's always a little bit difficult for a customer who paid for a protection to find out that
It's not
this
covered.
is the one thing that wasn't going to be
Yeah.
covered. So, and that happens with other products as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a tire and wheel coverage, but you don't have coverage for scraping your rim. I would say all consumers should be open minded to what is being offered to them.
Mm-hmm.
That at the time that they're purchasing it, there's a lot of protections that are only available right there in that window when they're purchasing their vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
especially gap insurance. It's only available at the time of the purchase, and not have to worry about the out of pocket expense potentially for numerous things, whether it's again a tire and wheel claim, it's an actual mechanical claim, or the other high frequency product issue we see right now is windshields. There's
Okay.
so much loose debris.
Yeah.
And these windshields are so expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we've seen, unfortunately, maybe 11 to 13% increase this year from last year, which was a high
Mm-hmm.
with regard to windshield claims. And it's because our construction has gone up.
So you would
Okay.
say like a warranty for windshields would be like the most recommended.
Yes, I would say tire and wheel and windshield are huge
Yeah.
benefits to consumers right now,
Mm-hmm.
because the windshields have gone up, in some cases maybe 1,000%, and that sounds
Wow.
insane. But when you think about it, you're talking about repairs that were maybe $100 to 150
Mm-hmm.
just 2-3 years ago on a lot of product lineups. But now a lot of the technology has moved up to the windshield. It's right behind the rearview mirror.
Right.
So the glass has changed to support that technology, and
Mm-hmm.
it's more expensive to actually get that glass replaced now.
So I have one more question just
Yes.
to finish this off. Let's say someone wants to sell their vehicle,
Okay.
right? How easy is an extended warranty transferable, or is that even possible?
You can transfer. I think to be clear, it's who and why, right?
Okay.
So most programs, you are able to transfer within your family.
Okay.
Sometimes it's even just adding a child. So we'll have parents who are coming and buying a vehicle, and they know that within the lifespan of that particular contract,
It'll be passed down.
it's going to be passed on
Yeah.
to a child who's in high school or possibly going off to college.
Mm-hmm.
You can add your child to the contract. Because ownership wise, it's still your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually makes it a little bit easier
Mm-hmm.
for both the student child who's using the vehicle and the parent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's within the same household. So, again, from a contractual standpoint, the address isn't changing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to go outside of the family, you can transfer most policies if you're doing a private sale.
Okay.
If you're selling it to a dealership, the answer would be no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted. Well, thank you so much, Jared, for coming in. This was really fun. I had so much fun learning about extended warranties and factory warranties. There's so much in this realm that I didn't know
Yes.
about, and I hope to have you on again.
I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope you enjoyed this episode of That's So Clutch. As always, if you have any questions about the automotive industry, please feel free to leave them down below and maybe we'll feature them in the next video. Bye!